For more, let me bring in David Corn, Washington Bureau Chief for Mother Jones and MSNBC political analyst, and also with us tonight, Lanny Davis, former White House counsel and vice president at Levick. Gentlemen, great to have you with us tonight. Lanny, you first. You're sleeping very good the more publicity that Donald Trump gets, aren't you? I mean, this is really music to your ears as you go to sleep at night, as opposed to the Republicans, isn't it?
I've actually been very, very busy. In fact, I'm on my way right after this appearance to the latest meeting of Democrats for Trump, and we're organizing to help the man. You know, he didn't really back away in that interview. No, he didn't answer the question, but he didn't say, no, I won't. It was a threat. And all I can say is, while there's some humor involved, this man is a despicable, repulsive hater who should not be ahead in the polls. And it says a lot about the Republican Party base, or people who are so far out that they don't join me in those words, because that's what this man is.
David Corn, I was astounded that two sitting United States senators would respond with videos to Donald Trump, especially Lindsey Graham. I mean, that to me underscores that this guy is a threat. He's a force, and a force to be reckoned with politically. How terrified are the Republicans, and how serious is this threat of possibly a third candidate if he doesn't get the respect he wants? What do you make of it all?
Listen, Donald Trump has shown that he can stay in this race as nominee or as not as nominee for as long as he cares to. He doesn't need to spend money on ads. He gets all the free media he could ask for. He doesn't need to have a big operation. He has his own plane. His financial disclosure forms show that he has a lot of cash on hand if he needs to, or at least stocks that he can turn into cash. So this guy can very quickly move from the Republican nomination contest to not a third-party run. We call it an independent run. And it's not too difficult to get on the ballot in most states if you do it with the right amount of time. So I do think it's obvious, and this is why Lanny has formed Democrats for Trump, that if he runs, he certainly draws more from the Republicans, whoever the Republican nominee might be. And if you look at states like Florida, Ohio, Virginia, swing states, where we anticipate a close match between any Democrat and any Republican, this could be the determining distinction in the results. Yeah. So it puts the Republicans in a very obvious bind. They get him too mad, takes his ball, and he goes on an independent run. And if they treat him too well, he taints the party with his rhetoric and his positions on immigration reform and other things.
I mean, Lanny Davis, isn't Donald Trump just saying, you better respect me or there's going to be big trouble ahead? Isn't that really what the message is? And he's not going to pay attention to anybody except the people that are following him?
That's what he's saying, and there's a significant group of Republicans, according to the polls, who are saying to pollsters, I am for him. But I would wonder, if you really interviewed them, are you for him just to make a statement on this particular immigration issue, or do you really think you want him as your president? And that's a big difference. So even as a third-party candidate, Ralph Nader got 3, 4, 5% in some states that made the big difference with the election of George W. Bush versus Al Gore. So he can pick up a handful of percent in the battleground states. I'm going to say something pretty historic today. I agree with David Corn. I haven't said that very often on. I've just ruined David's reputation.
I'm getting out of here, Ed.
Won't happen.
Yeah, but the thing is, I do think the important thing about Donald Trump is that he is speaking for a pretty large, significant block of grassroots Republican voters. Now, I don't think it's just on immigration reform. So I will mildly disagree with Lanny on this. I think there are 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4 Republican voters who just want a ventor-in-chief. These are the same people who thought that Obama was a secret socialist Muslim who wanted to destroy the country. They hate pressing 1 for English and 2 for Spanish. They're just fed up, and they want a guy, even if they don't agree with everything he says, who's going to speak with anger, with passion, to reflect their own anger and passion. And that's what he's captured, and it shows how far to the right the party has gone and dragged the Republican Party with it. The party has exploited those voters to win back the House and the Senate, but now they have to live with them.
David,
Lanny Davis, I got to ask you, there's a Quinnipiac poll out that shows that voters in Iowa, Virginia, and also Colorado are struggling with trusting Hillary Clinton. How bad is this for her, if it is at all? Is it a worry for the campaign? Your take.
Well, it's certainly a worry that we see results about personal characteristics like trust, and I find that not surprising, consistent with the numbers in the last several months where she's been subject to a lot of criticism on a number of issues in the national media. It's not just the right-wing conspiracy. But on the key issues of qualities to be president, on strong leadership, on fighting back when she's down, all of the polls show that she has strong leadership numbers. And in the general election, she's still going to be very strong against what will be, I think, a strong candidate if it turns out to be Jeb Bush. And by the way, I just want to say there's a sister soldier moment created here by Donald Trump. Every Republican, and Rick Perry looks awfully good now standing up to him, and I think Jeb Bush was the first. Every time that happens, it positions a Republican as standing up to the base on something as crazy as Trump and helps them in the general election.